This video message is for the President-Elect of the United States, Mr. Donald J. Trump, on the kidnapping of my 8-year-old child, Duke Sean Sherman, who has been kidnapped and wrongfully retained by his illegal alien mother, Jubilee Anqui, and her criminal boyfriend, Jonathan Link Tedrick. Parental child kidnapping is a crime. There is no closure. Losing a child is a life sentence. It's even worse if you lose the child due to the help of some corrupt judges or government officials. Dear Mr. Trump, congratulations once again on winning the presidency. My name is Stefan Sherman. I'm the father of Duke Sean Sherman, who has been kidnapped by his illegal alien Filipino mother, Jubilee Anqui. You winning the presidency is indeed a dream come true for most of us. America really needs to be great again, and there's no other better person to carry out this change than a charismatic leader like you. Sir, the purpose of this video is to raise the issue of horrifying governmental child abuse and child abduction by corrupt judges who abuse the American Constitution, who abuse their oath of office, who abuse their power, and who abuse foreigners who are not supposed to be in the country in the first place, and do not allow them to leave their territory and make them prisoners of the United States. My son is a victim of this horrendous governmental abuse, and I'm here to tell you, this is not only me a victim, there are 200,000 people per year whose children get wrongfully retained in the United States and being kidnapped, and nobody does anything about it. You said in your election campaign you're going to drain the swamp, and you said that the VA administration is a criminal enterprise. It's time to look in the family court in every 50 states and to realize what criminal enterprise that truly is. Families are being destroyed, children are being sold for money and kidnapped away from their loving parents. This is horrendous. Mr. Trump, if you don't change it, who would? You're the only non-political, non-corrupt person in the United States running now the presidency and the White House. It was about time for this kind of change. Okay, that was an emotional outburst. I tried to be now a little bit more calm. As you will understand, this is my child and my one and only child. So I've been suffering for the last 2 years. I am mad as hell. I'm horrified that this is even possible, taking a child away for no reason whatsoever. So I'm going now into my script to stay on track, otherwise I maybe get too emotional. Okay. My wife, Jubilee Anqui, who is an illegal alien, and her criminal boyfriend, Jonathan Link Tedrick, have kidnapped my son. Their last known address was at 320 Vinings Way Boulevard, apartment 10-202 in Destin, Florida, zip code 23541. This address is the apartment of Jonathan Link Tedrick, who is harboring 2 illegal immigrants. One of them is my child. That's a federal offense, which is jail time of 5 years. But nobody does anything. I filed criminal charges with the FBI. I filed criminal charges with the Department of Homeland Security, with ICE, with the Attorney General, Loretta Lynch, with the Attorney General of the state of Florida. I sent letters to Rick Scott, and everybody does not give a damn. So now I ask you a question, Mr. Trump. If your child was taken in another country and being held hostage by some government officials, and every letter you write is being ignored, how would that make you feel as a father? Devastated? Angry? Or would you just let it go and say, never mind, I can kiss my child goodbye for the next 10 years? It's not going to happen, especially not with me. So let me tell you, you are the only hope for 200,000 parents who are being left behind. And know why? Because your government officials, the corrupt Obama administration, is destroying these children, and the left behind parent can never see the child again. That is a horrendous abuse and crimes against humanity which is going on in your country where you're now president. And I guarantee you, you're the only person who can change it, because if you want to drain the swamp, you better start there as well. Who is the most vulnerable of society? Our children. It's not only the veteran administration, it's the children. And that is something nobody wants to talk about. The mainstream media does not give a crap. They cover it all up. You experienced it in your election campaign. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Anyways, these two criminals, Jubilee Anqui and Jonathan Lynn Tedrick, in convenience with the corrupt and broken legal system and immigration system in the US, successfully deprived me and my child the opportunity to be together. This has caused real emotional, physical, and psychological trauma for both of us for the last 24 months. Sir, I believe the promise you made prior to being elected were really meant by you. There is no better time to carry out these immigration policies. There are over 200,000 left behind parents like me every year in the US suffering over the same thing. The crime of parental child kidnapping. Help must come to us and justice must be done. Mr. President-elect, you made it clear during your campaign, and I quote, "We will end sanctuary cities that have caused so many needless deaths." You said no more funds. My wife is one of these persons that has abused the loophole of sanctuary cities. She has capitalized on the failed and moribund immigration system to cause more harm to people like me. All I ever wanted was to have the opportunity to love and care for my child. My son is just 8 years old and a minor, and he needs all the care in the world and his loving father in his life as he approaches adolescence. Sir, there's no better person to effect this change than you. America can only be great again if unscrupulous and unwanted criminals like my wife are flushed out of the system. She has overstayed her welcome visa in the States, and she should be put behind bars. All other corrupt officials in the DOJ and the FBI, including Loretta Lynch, that aided Jubilee Anqui to divert justice, should also be sanctioned. This infringement of law had taken place with the connivance of officials such as corrupt judges Margaret Koch-Polson, Okaloosa County, Judge Michael A. Flowers, Okaloosa County, and mentally disturbed Judge Margaret Casey Rogers, Pensacola Federal Court. Just on a side note, Mrs. Margaret Casey Rogers made national headlines a few years ago. She wanted to put 2 teachers into prison for praying over their food at school. Only when members of Congress stepped in, that case has been dismissed. Otherwise, these 2 teachers would have ended up in jail for several years. So that tells you what a mentally disturbed judge is sitting on the bench. Margaret Casey Rogers declared my son to be well settled in the United States, where he has an illegal immigration status. If that is not a violation against the American immigration system, I don't know what is. So you maybe want to have a word with Mrs. Casey Rogers and ask her how she justifies to disobey to federal immigration law, to disobey the American Constitution, and to disobey her oaths. Just on the sideline. Take note. Anyways, their willingness to secretly allow or to be involved in the wrongdoing, especially the immoral or illegal and criminal act of parental child kidnapping, enabled my wife to continuously wrongfully retain my son, Sean, illegally in the USA. These criminal judges have undermined the American Constitution. They violated federal immigration laws, and they violated their oath of office by knowingly, willingly, and wantonly abusing the power by conspiring with the illegal alien child kidnapping mother. These judges even ordered the child kidnapper to further commit criminal acts. Their illegal actions have caused psychological, emotional, and mental pain and trauma to my child, which is beyond repair. Under the United Nations Convention for the Protection of the Child, these criminal acts are referred to as crimes against humanity, or also known as enforced disappearance by government officials. These illegal actions by Judge Paulson, Judge Flowers, and Judge Rogers are violations of international laws and treaties, particularly international conventions regarding the rights of the child and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. In conclusion, Mr. Trump, I know you're a strong leader with so much intelligence and honesty, and your wish is to see America regain her integrity. I have written 2 letters now to you, one in July and another one in November of 2016. And I wouldn't stop till my voice is heard and justice is achieved. I believe that you are a loving and caring father like myself, and you will understand my plight and my pain. I hope to hear from you, sir. I surely believe you will carry out all your promises as president. My son is illegal in the USA and being wrongfully retained by his illegal alien mother, Jubilee Anqui, and harbored by her criminal boyfriend, Jonathan Link Tedrick. All I want is to be reunited with my child, and I speak here not only for myself, but for 200,000 left-behind parents who suffer from the same crime of parental child kidnapping every year in America. We want our children back who are illegally detained in USA. Is this too much to ask for? Moreover, may I highly recommend that you, as the new pro-life president of the USA, would sign the United Nations Convention for the Protection of the Child, because the US is the only country left in the world who has not signed this important agreement to protect the most vulnerable members of society, our children. The US has failed to ratify the agreement. However, the US has actively contributed to the agreement and has endorsed it by placing its signature on the convention. Isn't it time to sign off on it, Mr. Trump, to make it official? This would be a great job for you in the first week of your presidency. Aren't you a man who wants to protect children and honor their rights? I think I heard this during your election campaign. Not affording such protection for my son and the other 200,000 kidnapped children who are wrongfully retained in the United States would be a failure on the US to protect its illegal aliens and reducing the inalienable natural rights granted by the country of birth of wrongfully retained children, and frankly the entire world community except for the US. Hence, the remaining illegal stay in the US automatically constitutes a reduction of these natural rights, and is therefore not in the interest of my child or the other 200,000 children to remain illegally in the US. By signing the UN Convention for the Protection of the Child, your legacy to protect children from across the world against wrongful retention in USA would be second to none. I hope you have a successful time as a president. This is Stefan Schürmann, a loving and concerned father seeking justice for his child.